Agud Voch Raboisai. Nishmas Mordechai. We're hearing from our good friend Nechemi Seltzer, not related to Nachman. While I've been busy in camp in the Catskills, I still try my very best to find a few minutes to learn the Daf with you. I'm not going to lie, but I missed already a few days. But thanks to About the Yomi motto, the Yetzer Hara doesn't get me down. I see the Shiurim on Spotify to automatically download, and when Be'ezer Hashem I find the time to learn, I do the Daf that I missed. Also, apologies for people not getting any YouTube shorts or posts on Twitter since they shut it down. No, since I have had almost no time to make them. And since it's a frum camp, I don't have access to any browsers, Telegram, Chadoima, Shekoyach, and Chemi Seltzer, not related to Nachman. By Aaron Schwartz, I want to thank Reb Yossi, whom I met on the airplane to Israel in February this year. Reb Yossi Klein met this individual, Aaron Schwartz, on the plane. He encouraged me to join the Daf and to check out Reb Eli. The Daf has changed my life in many ways. At 38 years old, I finished my first Masechta, it says in parentheses, Gittin. I don't know what that means exactly. And I have now learned over 100 pages of Gemara. Thank you, Reb Yosef. I learned the last couple of weeks of Nazir with MDY and liked it so much. I joined the 5:30 a.m. Daf Yomi in town. I still listen to MDY sure, but now as Chazara, keep on daffing. Rabbi Yisai, we're running right into the sponsors. The Koilel. Huh?
He was on volume 1.
Oh, that's what he did? No. He did 100 pages. You have to see the picture. Let's see. Let's go back to the picture. No, he's holding volume 2.
So I'm saying maybe see him on volume 1.
Okay. There's a few pshatim. Maybe went ahead. Who knows? The Koilel is sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood. L'schos my mother-in-law Shlamis Esther Bas Bela. And the second sponsor for the Koilel, Eli Nishmas Zachariah ben Moshe, Eli Nishmas Betzal ben Moshe. The Masechta is sponsored by Moshe Banda to thank Hashem that I'm able to thank Him for everything that I have. The Parnas HaChodesh Jeff Rosner, Maaser, remainder, Eli Nishmas, it's a Simcha Chaim ben Shlomo Yehuda. By the Lakewood and Lebovic families, Lakewood New Jersey, because torah and achdus are the best segula. The Parnas HaChodesh, third one, Eli Nishmas Chaya Bas Yosef, Parnas HaYoim, Peter Merker, in memory of Chava Bas Moshe on her 6th yahrzeit. The Shlomo should have an aliyah. By New Jersey, and A Hassett, NJ, not New Jersey, NJ, and A Hassett, our dear son Aaron, on his 11th birthday, a proud member of MDY Kids, Gibraltar, since Nedarim. 11-year-old, happy birthday. I think Benny wants to sing. You should sing happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, you. His 11-year-old Aaron. Let's go. Gibraltar, no. Kid who's 11 years old who does the daf. Benny's going to sing his solo. Let's go. The Art of the Month, sponsored for complete refuah for Chaim, Tzvi, Ben. You know what? The whole shit is going to sing him. Happy birthday to Aaron. Happy birthday to Aaron. What a tzaddik. He does the daf every day in Gibraltar. Dear Aaron, happy birthday to you. Aaron, you should know you're the very first kid or any individual that ever got a happy birthday from the shir like that. Unbelievable. Huh? No, that's not. We're not setting a precedent.
NJ is Nissan. I think from now on, every child
Nissan? That's his name? You know? Don't tell me it's you. All right. We're doing the Yedious Hashas. Miruach is when a person has a pile of wheat, it only becomes chayiv in Trumas and Maasros when you smooth it out. Zdei Mikna, Zdei Achuza, two different types of fields. One is a field that you purchased, and one is a field that you get Yerusha, different halachas regarding Yovel, when you could buy it back, when you can't buy it back. Bechar, Le'noitel B'roiki B'muchzuk, when a Bechar gets 2 portions, he gets double Yerusha. It doesn't include things that are not in the father's possession at the time of the father's death. Let's say somebody owes the father money and then he pays him back after the Levaya, the Bechar doesn't get 2 portions. The famous Shvua of Moed B'Miktzas, we don't have to explain it. We also don't have to explain Tamemuad. We don't have to explain. Should we explain? No. Every kid knows that. Arav Kablan. That is a new musug, which is a guarantor. He's an Arav, but he's a Kablan. He tells the lender, don't even go after the loiva, come to me first. So it's a whole different, he's mishad himself on a higher level. Shibuda d'oraisa, we learned, if a person says, I will do X, Y, and Z for you, is he chayiv d'oraisa just because he says it? And we also, the famous Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov, Mishnasik Kavanaki, the halach is usually like Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov when he argues with other people. And today, we are going to be learning about Hezek, She'eni Nikir, whether it's Shmei Hezek or not Shmei Hezek. And that is damages that you cannot tell. You can't see whether or not there's damages. For instance, says the Heilige Mishnah, the bottom of Nun Beis, Amud Beis, sponsored by Eli Friedman, Nishmas, my dear father, Chaim Avram Shalom Yeruchem, Ben Yisrael David Alav Shalom. So we're continuing with the theme. This whole perek is perek Tikkun Ha'olam. It just happens to be a lot about Nizakin, and it really belongs, a lot of it in Baba Kama and the Nizikin over there. But we're continuing the theme of Tikkun Ha'olam. There's certain halachas that should be one way, but Chachamim changed it for the better of the world, to fix the world. Hamatame, a person looks at his friend's produce, and he says he's going to get his friend. How? Let's say his friend is a kohen. He takes a dead rat, and he touches all the stuff. Or he himself is tamei, he touches his friend's fruit. Now, you can take the fruit, put it underneath a microscope, but you won't see that it's tamei. Nothing changed. It's hezek she'eni nikir. You can't really see. But halachically, it's also for the kohen to eat it. Or, as we're going to see in the Gemara, it could be even chulin. You metama chulin, and also causes damage to the chulin. You made it tamei. Certain people are makbid, the prushim. We have a shul right next door. It's called prushim. Prushim are people that are super makbid, and they only eat chulin al taras hakodesh. They will only eat fruit that's not tamei. You ruined it for this guy. Now he has to go and sell it cheaper or whatever it is. Hamidameya. Midameya is taking a fruit, let's say that's truma, and putting it in a pile of fruit that are not truma. Now we don't know which fruit is truma, which is not. So a Yisrael can't eat any of the fruit. A kohen could eat all of it because it's truma. So you have to go ahead and sell it now for truma prices, which are very low. You ruined it for him. V'amenasech. You make your friend's wine yayin nesach. How exactly did you do that? Either you mixed it up, l'shem avodah zara, Imam Shah Rasha, that's one pshat in the Gemara, or you already took somebody else's wine, let's say, and you pour it in. You take yayin nesach that's already yayin nesach, you pour it into your friends. So the halach is b'shayik potter. You didn't mean to harm your friend, and you didn't cause visible damage, you're potter. B'meizid chayav. If you ruin your friend's produce on purpose, you're chayav. Now, just as a side note, there's somebody in my family who's not from, and he ate by me, and my father was there, and he's related to my father as well. And my father was all nervous the whole time during Kiddush. Shouldn't, and this individual gets up, he goes, let me open up the bottle of wine. My father almost had a heart attack. It's like, no, we're gonna, he started making up reasons why. Of course he understood. It's a big problem. It's a big problem that a guy that's Mechal Shabbos before Hesia, even though he is one of the family, it's a problem. Another issue that I saw, and this was like really out there, but of course I like to throw things that are really out there. Are you permitted to give an individual like that wine, a glass of wine on Shabbos at the Seder? He's going to take it, he's going to make it yayin nesach, and that's aser, and now he's drinking yayin nesach. It's like lifnei iver. Very good. I'm talking about not mevushal. Okay, so anybody that has a kid that's off the derech, whatever, deal with it. I don't know. You have to. There was a cute story. of a guy that was a big soicher of wine, and he hired a wagon to take all his wine into the city. And during the ride, he noticed the wagon drivers, he saw this pouch of money, so he stole the money, put it between his barrels, and it disappeared. So the wagon driver took him to the Torah. And what? No the Yehuda story? You sure? Okay. Took him to the Rav. I don't remember as Nedarim Yehuda. He took him to the Rav, and the Rav said, looked at the Seicher, no, he denied it 100%. Huh? So the Rav was a smart man. He said, okay, listen, I believe the two of you. It's probably not you guys, from guys, no way. But you know what? It was a guy. It must have been a guy. Who else stole? So it's a guy. So now all the wine is yain nesach. You got to throw it out. So the Seicher started calculating, wait a minute, there's only $100 in this wallet, and there's $3,000 worth of wine. He said, no, it's me. Okay, here. He took it, he paid for it. Okay. Zok Gemara, Itmar, Menasech. How exactly did you make your friend's wine yain nesach? Rav Amar Menasech Mamish. He put his hand into the barrel, and he went, this is for whatever their getchke is, and he made it yain nesach. He mixed it up. Ushmul Amar Ma'arev. No, he took yain nesach. There's a bottle of wine that says on it yain nesach, and he mixed it in there. Mando Amar Ma'arev. Shmuel, who says that he mixed it, my time Amar Menasach. Why don't you just say simple? He took it and he mixed it up. L'shem Avodah Zarah. Amar Loch Menasach Komle B'derabim Minei. Oh, this might be Yedis Shas. We didn't see this in a long time. Kimle B'derabim Minei. Kimle means let this stand. B'derabim Minei, something in front of something that's greater than it. In other words, if there's ever a situation where you're over on two things simultaneously, you only get the greater of the two, the punishment, the greater of the two. So if a person was over Avodah Zarah, he went like this, he's chayiv misa, they give him skila. So if they give him skila, he doesn't have to pay for the wine. He only gets one out of the two. He only has to pay, he pays for his life. He dies, he doesn't, what is it, double jeopardy? Well, double jeopardy is different. That's like you can't go after him twice. It's a little different. What? What does the lawyer say? No, in America, I don't think.
There's two different things here. You should be punished for both.
Yeah, in America they charge for both. You get for holding a concealed weapon and a murder and the second degree and ripping the cop's clothes. The bullet ruined the thing, whatever. Good.
I think if he sends this, he still's got to pay the damages that he caused.
Yeah. This is halacha in the Torah, Kimle b'derabim minei. Fine. So he says, listen, you can't say this talking about that he really did Avodah Zarah, because if he did Avodah Zarah, then we wouldn't have the whole case in the Mishnah to begin with. You're not chayiv your friend. V'edach, no, and what's he going to do? What's Shmuel? You can't say Menasech. What's Shmuel going to do? How does he, or Rav? We're talking about a situation where he lifted up the barrel of wine first. He didn't do any Avodah Zarah yet, but when he lifted it up, he's chayiv for gneva. At that point, he has to return the barrel of wine. Maybe he lifted it up to shake it and do Avodah Zarah. Maybe he picked it up, brought it to his house, to the whatever, the church, to do Avodah Zarah over there, whatever it was. But first it was a chiyuv to pay back, and Avodah Zarah happened later. So it's two different times. He's chayiv for both. Rav says that's Menasech. My time how come he didn't say the other pshat? Easier pshat, you have to say that the guy was mamish or Russia. Maybe he found a bottle of yain nesach and he mixed it in there. Oh my Allah, it makes no sense to say it's Ma'arev. Ma'arev, haynu midameya, nun gimel amud aleph. Why would the Mishnah say two exact same cases? That he took a fruit that's truma and threw it into a pile of fruit that's chul, and now we don't know which one is what, and he made the whole thing truma. And then another case with liquids. He takes a bunch of yain nesach wine, he pours into a barrel of not yain nesach. Okay, it's the same idea. V'edach knasahu. This is a knas. Why? Because we're holding that hezek shein and niker lo yishmei hezek. This hezek that's not visible is not considered a hezek. So it's a knas. Chacham said you have to pay. You really shouldn't have to pay, but they penalize you. They say you have to pay. If you're chayiv a knas by truma, it doesn't mean that you'd be chayiv a knas by menasech. It's two separate things. Rav, who says you do learn one from the other. So why do you need three cases? Simple tzrichusa gemara. The Tana Metama, if it would only say one case, that a person touched his friend's fruit with an object that's tamei or he's tamei, each truma. What are the case? What's the case? It's either truma or chulin. He ruined it for a kohen. It's the reason why it's only this case, because he ruined it completely. What's a kohen going to do with it? Very little he can do with it. He can feed it to his animal. No. It went from being worth $100 to it came out worth nothing. I was just reading a whole article about feeding to the animal. Like somebody, I think Hillel sent me this thing. There's literally 1,000 trucks or maybe more a day of fruit, and they give the 10%, 100 trucks go to the zoo. It's a lot of fruit. When they take Trumas and Maaser, they take the whole Trumas and Maaser, they give it to the zoo. Okay? So you can give it to the zoo. What is it worth? It's garnished. Or you could use it for wood, for fire. Yeah, it's garnished. So maybe in that case, I would say he's chayiv. But in other cases, you didn't ruin it completely. And let's say you're talking about a case, not that it's the kohen's, it's not truma, it's chulin. But there's an isser to cause tuma on regular fruit. Even chulin in Eretz Yisrael, it's also. I would say that doesn't apply to the case of midameya, where you take truma and you mix it in a pile of other fruit. If you don't say the case of midameya, again, you have a pile of nice fruit, and somebody takes a piece of truma and throws it in there, and you don't know which apple is truma, which is not, so the whole thing turns into truma. Mishum d'shchiach, that's something that's unfortunately common. People who want to shtuch their friends out, they do that to them. They take a fruit of truma, throw it into 100,000 apples or whatever it is. Okay, you'll say it's bottle, but whatever it is, where it's not bottle, and they ruin it for them. People don't usually look around for rats and start messing with other people's stuff. Why? Why don't they do it? Because it's a right. So let me see if I have it. I thought maybe. No. Okay. It's an issur to be mitama the fruit. And if we had those two cases we just spoke about, there's no concept of kim lebi d'Rabbi. But a case of wine where he's chayiv misa for making it avodah zara, so I would think that he shouldn't pay for the wine itself. That this is possible. You're right. There's a problem of kam lebi d'Rabbi. You don't have to pay. But if you do what Rabbi Yirmiyah said, that the Gana first lifts it up, he's kind of the Gneva Bahagba. It becomes his, or he's now chayiv for it. And then he went and he did have a desire to it. And then he tried to return it. He can't return it. Why? Because it's not the same product that he stole. He stole perfectly good wine, and now it's avodah zara wine. Okay. Stam Shaila. We're talking about the halachas of hezek she'ein nikar. So what is the olam taina? Guy has a dog, and the dog drank from a whole vat of wine. The FDA comes along, the Misrad HaBriyot, they look at it and they say, no, you got to get rid of this. Dog might have rabies, I don't know what. Get rid of it. It's hezek she'ein nikar, right? What's the halacha? Chayiv or not chayiv? The guy had to throw out 20 gallons of wine, whatever it is, he had to throw it out. Chayiv or not chayiv? What happened? The guy shouldn't. We're ready to go? Okay, so we're discussing a shayla. If a person has a dog, and the dog drank from a vat of wine or apple juice, whatever it is, and the authorities say you have to throw the whole thing out. What is that called? So the halacha is, does anybody have something to say? You want to say something? Is it hezek she'ein nikar or hezek she'ein nikar? Why is it hezek she'ein nikar? No. But when you're matama somebody, something, it's not nikar. How? I also took it out of miklas shimush. I'm tamei. I touch your fruit, and now it comes out of miklas shimush. And it's not considered hezek nicker. Huh? So what your brother-in-law said is true. He said, you see, you'd be surprised. He said, okay, so you should know, your brother-in-law said that he put bacteria in there. But bacteria is visible in a way. If you look under a microscope, you see. What? It's measurable. How's it measurable? Yeah, right. So the halacha is if somebody puts in poison, you can't visibly see it, it's considered hezek nicker because you changed what's the word I'm looking for? The composition. Thank you. That's exactly the word I was looking for. Thank you, Doc. We missed you. He changed the composition of whatever this is. You can look under a microscope, you see that it changed. The poison changed. So too, this. Okay, that they discussed it. The Chaim discussed this. Fine. The point is sometimes it's invisible to the naked eye, but it's still considered visible hezek because under a microscope you can see it. Whereas tuma, even under a microscope, you can't see it.
How did the Gemara bring in Rabbi Yirmiyah? Rabbi Yirmiyah is talking about gzela. So gzela is hezek nicker. So how could the Mishnah be talking about that?
Why is it hezek nicker? It's not the same thing that you're. But is Rabbi Yirmiyah talking about? No, he talks over here. Commonly with the Ramene, he's talking about gzela.
Yeah,
the Shas Hagbohu Duktana. I'm gonna ask the Gozloi. We'll get to gzela in a second. If you have a shayla later, then you'll tell me. Says the Gemara. We're still in the tzrichusa here, easy tzrichusas. But the Gemara says, listen, everything is good if we go in this order that we did. We start off in Tama, we went to Medama, and then we added Yain Nesach. But what happens if Yain Nesach is not the third one? If Yain Nesach is before the third one? Then what happens? Then the tzrichusa changes. Over here, Menasech, Yain Nesach is the second one in line. And then the third one is Midamea. So l'chari that ruins the way we did our tzrichusa. Kolhanin lamali. Says Gemara tzricha. We'll change it up a little bit. If it only said one case of a person that makes his friend's fruit tamei, you don't have the case of kamei b'derabbanei. So I would say that this Mishnah would not apply to wine. And if I would just say why, I ruined it completely. All of a sudden now the Gemara changes its niggin over here a little bit. Now the Gemara, before the Gemara said that when you metame your friend's fruit, you ruin it completely. Now the Gemara is saying you didn't ruin it completely because you still could use it for your animal. But it's the same. The Gemara is not having any charata. The Gemara is just saying that when I compare it to something that you ruin completely, metame is not completely. Before we're comparing it to something that everybody could use, so metame is ruining completely. Fine. If we would say these two, mishum dehefsed meruba, you're causing great loss. I'm dameya dehefsed muat. If I take a fruit and put it in a pile of good fruit, so now the whole pile becomes truma. It's not the greatest loss in the world. I could still sell it off to kohanim. Emaloi tzricha. Omar Chizkiah. Var Torah echad shoygi v'chamezid chayev. So now we're going to machlokes of hezek shein and nicker, whether or not you chayev a potter. Again, hezek that's not visible to the naked eye. Are you chayev or not? Says Chizkiah, Midiraisa, you're completely chayev, even if you do it b'shoygig. And Rashi brings this pasuk, the famous pasuk, Petza tachas potza. Here I learn even shoygig. I would think, if by mistake I ran over my friend's cat, by mistake, maybe I should be potter. No, Petza tachas potza, you chayev even by mistake. There's no mistakes when it comes to chiyuv. You can't say, oh, I burnt your house down. It was my mistake. I'm sorry. I'm not going to pay you anything. You have to pay. My taima. Hezek sheni nikar shmei hezek. Umatam omer b'shoygig potter. Oh, so there's two ways to look at it. Either you're completely chayev, and now we have to understand why b'shoygig you're potter. Or you can say you're completely potter, and now we have to understand why b'mezid you're chayev. So we're saying you're completely chayev. So I have to understand how come in this case we said by mezid, b'shoygig you are potter. Kideshi yediot. It's a very important thing. Somebody by mistake. Sometimes you do mistakes and you run away. You don't want people to know. You hit somebody's car, back into somebody's car, you dent his door, you look right and left, and unfortunately a lot of people, they run away. Or if they're smarter than that, they take out a pen and paper and they write A, B, C, D, E, F, G, call 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they put it on the windshield and they run away then. They're still running away. I never did that when I was 15. If I did it and you live in Flatbush on East, please be Michael. Fine. There's a lot of people watching and you want to be a mensch, so you write a note. What? Okay. I didn't have a license. I wasn't supposed to. It was just the 2 doors, not a big deal. So you want people to come forward. This is dangerous stuff. You metame your friend's stuff. Now, even though he might not be over the greatest isser in the world, it's only he's eating b'shoyeg. Akash Baruch can't have a taina in him. He had no idea. But first of all, it's metamtem the moyach. It's not good. You know what? Come forward and say, by the way, I happen to be tamei. I just came back from a funeral. I didn't realize your fruit is there. I touched it all. It's all tamei. You got to get rid of it. Or your car, you got to get rid of it. Whatever it is. If it's true, you got to get rid of it. It's chulin, whatever. But I'm potter. So now I can come clean. If I know that I'm potter, I can come clean. I'm married to Gemaisa because it's Motzei Shabbos. There were 2 brothers, a true story. 2 brothers were fighting their entire life. In their 70s, the Rav decided enough is enough. We have to make shalom. So he calls in one of the brothers and he says, "What's going on here? Why are you fighting the brother?" He says, "Listen, I'm never making shalom with my brother. I'll tell you what happened. It was Purim. I bought an unbelievable shalach manas, a tray. You're talking about back in the day in Yerushalayim. I bought him a beautiful tray and I put it. We baked and we put everything in. I gave him the shalach manas. What does he send back? A tray with horse manure, mud, the whole thing. This is what he sends back to me. After we went and we made the first step, this is how he treats us. It's no right. The Rav goes back to the second brother. He says, "No, what happened?" He says, "You're not going to believe it. It's 40 years ago on Purim. He sends us a tray, mud, and this. What mud? He sent you a beautiful. No, it's mud." And so, anyways, they called in the son of the guy, the first shalach manas. They called him in. Now the guy's already an adult. He says, "Listen, I'll tell you what happened. I was bringing the tray over. I tripped, fell. The whole thing splattered into a puddle of mud. I didn't know, so I just took it, put it back, and I delivered it." Sometimes the kid was scared to tell his father what happened. He'd get beat up. So he didn't say what happened. So now they're fighting for 40 years for no reason. Listen, it's a Musa Haskell for all the machlokes, and they're basically a lot of times you ask people, why are you fighting? They don't even know. They don't know. They just know they're in a fight. Something happened 10 years ago. Exactly what happened. It's not important. Right now we hate each other. Right now we're in a fight. Azai is Zokti Gemara. Ihachi, you want to hear something sad? This is sad. Ihachi, I feel b'meizinami. If a guy goes ahead, a Rosh Marusha, he wants to get his neighbor real good. He sees the pile there. He climbs over the fence. He takes a rat and starts shuckling up the entire pile of food with tumah. Let him at least not be chayiv, because then we'll give him an incentive to tell the neighbor that what he did was terrible and he ruined his fruit. Like this is his neighbor won't eat truma tameya. Says Gemara, this guy is trying to harm him. He's not going to tell him. Now it happens to be, I saw, it's online, these things. There's a reason why when I go to a restaurant, I never ever return my food. I don't care how bad it tastes. I watched one of those movies, too many, where the guys spit into the food and they do all sorts of worse things. And over there, they're not being moidia. They just do it. It just happens to be there's a video camera that catches them. So I don't know. Okay, the Gemara says that when you try to get your friend, it's not something that you want to keep in. You want to tell him. There's a terrible, terrible story that I once read where a guy called the authorities on his neighbor. It happens. I have a neighbor that actually tells me, "I'm going to call the authority. You better be careful." I'm going to call. In fact, but the guy actually went and called the authorities. The guy shows up. The pakach shows up. The what do they call him in English? The inspector, city inspector shows up, and he starts shutting down the whole thing. Out comes the neighbor and he says, "I called him." Ha! Mamish like that. He was moidea him. He called him and he was moidea him. So the guy that got shut down turned around and cursed him. He said, you should die a terrible death, like mamish a curse. The next day, the guy that called the authorities in bed for I think for the rest of his life, it said. Because it's a terrible thing to curse somebody. Mamish should never ever curse anybody, even if they do something like that. But Rav Shteiman, his big thing was always just sign. You tell people, like they say, why is Mashiach coming? I don't know why. It's a big thing. Just sign, meaning people want to, make an addition in their house, and they go through the whole process, and then the neighbors, without good reason, most of the time, torah sign, jealousy. No, we're not gonna sign. Just sign. Let the guy have his extra bedroom, whatever. It's not the end of the world. What do you care if he has another? No. So fine. Rabbi Yochanan Omar. Devar Torah echad shogeg v'echad potter. Faker. So we have machlokes. Chizki says midaraisa hezek sheni nikir chayiv. Rabbi Yochanan says the opposite. Hezek sheni nikir devar Torah echad shogeg v'echad potter. If it's not visible, the damage, you're completely potter. Even mazid, completely potter. My taima hezek sheni nikir lo shmei hezek. It's not considered damage. So why did they change it? So then anybody could just go and ruin your friend's. He has $1 million worth of fruit. Ruin it all and say, I'm not chayiv anything. Sue me. I'm pater midaraisa. So we were misakin. This is tikkun olam. We need to save the world. We need to change things that even though midaraisa is pater, I'm going to make it chayiv. Tanan. Hakoyanim shepiglu b'migdosh. We got to do another Yidis Shas pigul. Now, if you were with us in Kachim, this is the most common word. But pigul is the idea that if the kohen, or it could be also the Yisrael during Shechita, during the 4 avodas, Shechita, Kabbalah, Halacha, Zrika, during those, let's even say just Kabbalah, Halacha, let's even say Zrika. There's no problem with Zrika. You shech the animal, you receive the blood, you walk the blood over to the Mizbeach, and then you sprinkle on the Mizbeach. If during the Zrika, only the Kohen can do Zrika, he has intent to mess up. The Yisrael is his neighbor who called the authorities on him. So now it's his time to get him back. So his neighbor, the Yisrael, purchased a nice geschmack animal for $500. The Kohen could ruin it for him just by thinking. He thinks in his mind that if this animal is eaten for 2 days and night, 3 days and night. Chutz l'zman. He's thinking about a machshava that ruins the animal. That ruins the carbon. Pigul is a thought that ruins the animal, usually in chutz l'zman. You don't have to say it. Usually you don't have to say it, it's shayla. Okay. Some say you have to say it. None. Okay? He thinks it. Now, we're going to see in the Gemara talks about saying, not saying. If this kohen ruined the $500 carbon for his friend or his enemy, now his friend has to buy another $500 carbon. If the kohen did it on purpose, he's chayav. Why is he chayav? Now the Gemara is going to bring a bunch of rayas, whether or not hezek, sheni nikir, shmei hezek, or not shmei hezek. Over here is a beautiful raya. The what? The kohen should be potter, but because of tikkun ha'olam, to save the world, we say that it's chayav. What does that mean? That midaraisa, he's potter. Only mipnei tikkun ha'olam is chayav. V'yarmis hezek sheni nikir shmei hezek. If you're telling me that midaraisa chayav, hayshoyim pturim, it should say that really when you do it by mistake, you're potter. Mipnei tikkun ha'olam b'barlei. In that case of shogeg, you should be potter. Why? We want to save the world. That he should admit what he did. That's the case of tikkun ha'olam, of saving the world, that he's potter. Not that he's chayiv. Chayiv already, the Torah tells you you're chayiv. According to Chizkiah, the Torah tells you that if you do a hezek sheni nikar, invisible damage, you're chayiv. So it makes no sense to say, if a kohen did invisible damage, you're chayiv. You know why? We have to save the world. That's not why. Because the Torah says you're chayiv. And the fact that you're telling me that you're trying to save the world is a raya that midaraisa you're potter, just to save the world, we said you're chayiv. Yes? It's very simple, and you're staring me down as if I'm saying the most complicated thing. Okay, good. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what it says. Mizidim chayavim. Midaraisa you're chayiv. Hashoygim pturim, but I'm going to be medayik. you're only chayiv, the kohen is only chayiv when he did it on purpose to mess up his friend. But if he did it by mistake, he's potter. He thought that this carbon is eaten for 3 days, it's only eaten for 2 days. Potter. Why? What's the tikkun oilam again? Because we want the kohen to come forward and admit his mistakes. Listen, I messed up. Your carbon, your chayiv, you Michal Shabbos, you brought a chattas, I messed it up. I did something wrong in my mind when you brought it. That's it. You have to bring another one. Maaser Rabbi Lazar. Okay, another Givaldik Geraya. If a person does melacha with the paraduma, I just want to show you a picture that Yoshi did many Mesachtas ago. This is Dr. Factor's Ritalin. These are the kohanim that are on the Sela. They're taking care of the little kids. They're selling, okay, the whole mice over there. And they painted the fake paraduma. Okay, stop reminding the Olam. Whoever was here, great. Not. Again, paraduma comes very, very rarely. It's worth a ton of money. Even nowadays, there's a guy upstate New York who had a paraduma, and some Hasidim from Borough Park tried to buy it from him. He wouldn't sell it even for $1 million. He said, Mashiach is coming. What? Yeah, because he's really white. They spray. You don't see the spray cans on the bottom. They spray. This is a fake paraduma. Anyway, I don't know, whatever they're doing there. Fine. So, but halacha is you cannot do any asher loy ubad. Here's the pasuk. V'yikchu elecha paraduma tmima asher ein b'mum asher loy Allah aleha oil. You can't do any work. So, if I want to mess up my friend, I'll grab his $1 million paraduma and I'll ride him. I'll start, work him. Can't do that. If you do that, you ruin the paraduma. It says like this. If the water, what do you do with the paraduma? You burn the paraduma, you take the ashes, you mix it with the water, and now anybody that's tamei mace, you sprinkle him twice. On the 3rd day, the 7th day. Not 2 times, not twice. 2 different days. If you ruin his paraduma, $1 million into the garbage, you potter, you can't bring the guy to court, you chayiv in dina shamayim. But if you say that invisible damage is considered complete hezek, he should be chayiv $1 million in court. He asked the question, Rabbi Lazar, and he's going to answer it. We're talking about a different case. We're talking about a case, Almanas, Shetinak, Vitadush. So it goes like this. If an animal, let's say a bird, lands on a paraduma's back, is that considered work? No. But let's say the owner says, I want the bird to be on its back, then you could, with your machshava, you can make that work. You could consider the oil. Comes a friend, wants to ruin this $1 million gain. He's jealous that his friend just made $1 million. He comes in and he says, listen, I want you to go over here, you little paraduma, come and nurse from your mother. That's okay. Also, as you're nursing from your mother is going around in a circle. We have this right over here. This disha, when the cow just walks around and tramples the wheat and separates the grain, that's disha, threshing. If you intend that the paraduma should do that, that's working the paraduma, and it's no longer paraduma. So basically, he's telling this paraduma to do 2 things. One thing that's mutter, one thing that's aser. And it goes in there and does something that's aser. Para shechnisa l'rivka, puts it in the pen, almanashet tinak, it should nurse, and also do something that's aser. So now that the para, we don't know, he didn't put it in there to thresh, he put it in there also to nurse. So how do you know that it became aser, and that's no longer paraduma? Because in his mind, he said it should be for disha also. So what is that called? That's called another Yidis Hashas, grama. Grama is Akin Potter. It was an indirect hezek. It was in his mind. Mechatos, sheshaka b'mishkalos. And how did he ruin the mechatos? He had a scale, and he used the mechatos, he used a liter or a pound of water of the mechatas to and the other side he put fruit, he put meat, and he was weighing with the water. He used the water of the mechatas as a weight, and that ruins it. It just happens to be, I saw the machlokes rishonim here, when exactly they use the water, because once you put in the ashes, the Rashba says that it doesn't become possible anymore. The other rishonim, the Rambam says it does. Okay, fine, doesn't matter. Whatever it is, maybe it was plain water before the ashes or water with the ashes. The point is he ruined it. V'amarava, ask the Gemara, how could that be? V'amarava mechatos sheshokal bohem mishkalois kshera. I said this a bunch of times when I was a kid in Bnei Brak. I saw it even recently here. There used to be a horse and a wagon come through the neighborhood, and they used to sell watermelon. That's the only thing. Avatiach, they scream, avatiach al-sakin. Remember this? You guys remember? And they had one of those old-fashioned scales, and they would put a fake weight that said 5 kilo on it. It was really 2 kilo, and they charge you for 5. You just look at the guy, you know that something's up with this. It was hollow in the bottom. I don't know. I'm making that up. Kids that's what they would do, huh? No, it makes sense. No, you look at the guy. Arabs, I don't know what they were. Terrible people. It wasn't even watermelon. It was probably just, I don't know. Fine. Says Gemara Lekashia. Ha begufan, ha bekenegdan. Very, very good. Here, give me this. This is vanilla water. Okay, don't be choshed. Seriously, it's just. So, could you see these lines over here on your camera? That's what we need to see. Can you see them? No.
Yeah. No, leave it on the angle.
Right here. No, the angle's not so good. So now, take a geschmack piece of meat, and you put it in here. It's water displacement. So when the line goes up to a certain amount, now you know how much volume the meat takes up, and by the volume they know how much it weighs. They'll sell the meat with volume. So now this is begufay. This water, this ash water, this is ashes. That's why it looks different. You see, it's not vanilla; it's ashes that change the color. Now you use the actual physical water to weigh something. You didn't just put the water on the side of a scale. You didn't touch the water. Already touching water. Actually, some Rishonim say that the meat turns colors the water turns colors from the blood in the meat or whatever. It's not in a plastic bag like in this case, but it could be in a plastic bag. The point is that it's using the actual water. So the Gemara, he's a little scared. Let's get this. Let's close it quickly. Ha bigufan. When you're using the actual water, the physical water to displace for meat, then you ruin it. Ha b'kenegdan. If you just take it and put it on the other side of the scale, you didn't do anything to it, and it doesn't ruin it. Sponsored by Mordechai Sapoznick, who needs a shidduch right away, and by Tehillim 8mindaf.com. Tehillim.8mindaf.com. What? I know, but today I'm giving it to him. Next. We got a whole lot to do here. It's almost 12 o'clock. Oh, you know that we're already 50 minutes on this thing. Look, guys. Bigufon, ma'aseh. When you use the actual water, you did a action with the actual water. V'hezek she'ein nigesh mehezek. And if you pass it, that non-visible damage is considered hezek b'dinei adam nami l'chayev. How come we said that you're not chayev b'dinei adam? You should be able to bring this to court because you did something physical and you should be chayev. No, Idi wasn't using it for displacement. He was just using it to sell watermelon on those scales. If somebody has one of those scales, he could donate it to him. I would use it a lot. Comes up in the Gemara a lot, those old-fashioned scales. I'll buy one in America. Now what? There is a pasuk here for this. It better be here. Here. This should be it. You have to guard the mechatas, mishmeres, and you can't be Mesiach Das. You can't think about other stuff. If you are selling things and doing other things, you're Mesiach Das, like we said about tefillin. You can't wear tefillin if you're going to be Mesiach Das. Now, the beautiful story about Hezek Das, because it's Motzei Shabbos, in the Sefer Shimush Shel Torah, he brings that about Rebbe Elyashiv. They asked Rebbe Elyashiv, how are you zoicha to know Torah like in an incredible way? Mamish, like better than the Belzer. On a very, seriously, very, very high level. So he said, because he was never Mesiach Das from Torah. He wasn't Mesiach ever in his life, Mesiach Das. So they asked him, these guys, it's so annoying. He said to them, okay, so keep on going. No, what does it mean not to be Mesiach Das? How long is Mesiach Das? So he said, Keherafayin. He said, well, how much is Herafayin? So Elyashiv blinked, he closed his eye, and he opened his eye, and he said, that's Herafayin. So never Mesiach Das. If you read about Rebbe Elyashiv, you know what's going on. You know that it's not, it's emes. There's 1,000 stories I know about Rebbe Elyashiv that I heard. It's emes. He had the key to the mikveh. This is not a nice story, but it explains exactly his personality. He had the key to the mikveh in Yerushalayim, and some annoying guys would always like sneak in. When he would open it up in the morning, they'd sneak in. So he told them, listen, I have to go learn. If you're not going to be out before me, I'm going to have to lock up. And he would lock them in there. Whoever wasn't out before him, lock. There's no Rahman. It's not. I have to go learn. Every second matters, and that's it. You want to sneak in, but make sure you're out before me. There's nicer mice than that, but that one stuck in my head right now. Zok the Gemara. Mesiach Das. Moser Papa. Gozam ad be'av v'nifsal. A guy steals. He's a ganav. He stole coins, and they took it out of circulation. It's worthless today. Truma v'nitmas. He took truma. He stole truma, and it became tameh. He didn't do it, but a dead rat fell off the roof and hit the truma. Now it's worthless. Chametz. He stole pizza. V'avar Pesach, and he didn't make Pesach. Pesach happened by itself. Oimer loy harei shechol fanecha. Here, hezek shein and nikar. I didn't do anything to it. There's no physical thing. Here it is. Harei shechol fanecha. V'yarmes hezek shein and nikar. Shmei hezek. But if you say it's considered hezek, hay gazlan hu. Umamoyna ma'alya boili shalom. I have to know if Chizkiah holds that or not. I forgot which one holds what. I think Chizkiah might not hold that. Hay gazlan hu. Umamoyna ma'alya boili shalom. So Vaita, this is again in the pasuk. I don't know what that's doing there. You have to give back exactly what you stole. So if hezek shein nikar shmei hezek, if it's considered that there's physical damage here, then you didn't give back what you stole. But if it's hezek shein nikar lo shmei hezek, then you gave back here. I didn't do anything to it. There's no physical thing. Take it back. But over here, it's mashma that he should have to pay. Why doesn't he pay? So you see that says Says Gemara Lemi Ketanoi. This is machlokes Chizkiah and Rabbi Yochanan again. Perhaps it's a machlokes Tanoim. But the machlokes Tanoim, then Chizkiah and Rabbi Yochanan shouldn't be arguing in it. Hamatame v'amenasich. Our Mishnah. Echad shani v'echad mezid. Our Mishnah says doesn't matter. Shogi mezid chayav. Dir Meir. B'yidoi Meir. B'shogi potter. B'mezid chayav. Remeir is of the opinion, regardless, you're chayiv. Rabbi Yehuda says no. B'shoigi you potter. Only mezid you chayiv. Ma'ila, the Mar Sovar, the reason why you're chayiv even shoigig is because it's considered damage. And the Torah says, petzatachas potza, you have to pay even when it's a mistake, but it's considered damage. Umar Sovar, lo shmei hezek. Rabbi Yehuda holds it's not hezek. Omer Nachman Yitzchok, no. We could say that, we could argue and say that no, that's not a machlokes tanoim. Not even Remeir holds hezek sheni nikar lo shmei hezek. It's not considered hezek. So why does Remeir say Chaim? Rabbi say we're going into a sugya now. This is the sugya. Another you said in Shas. Do we penalize somebody that does something b'shoigig because of mezid? Mezid, we have to give him a penalty. We have to give him a knas. But we should also give a knas b'shoigig. You know why? Because if you don't, then people are going to be chachamim. They're going to do it on purpose, and they're going to say, mistake. I didn't know. By mistake, I touched it. I'm tummy and I touched it with my eye. I didn't realize it was a mistake. So you say, yeah, mistake, very good, but you have to pay. So as kindness, shoigig got to mezid. So now, even all the way through tomorrow, we're going to be dealing with this knas, shoigig atu mezid. Yeah, very simple. Do we make a knas? Do we say, we give a guy a penalty, even though he's shoigig, and he doesn't deserve a penalty, but if we don't, we have a problem with the mezid part. So, across the board, whether you're mezid or a shoigig, do it on purpose, inadvertently, you chayiv no matter what. The Maaser Rabbi Meir holds Konsu Shogig Otu Mezid. The reason why Shogig and Mezid are both Chayiv in our Mishnah, you matama somebody's fruit b'Shogig because a Knas Shogig Otu Mezid because of Mezid. Maaser Rabbi Yehuda holds like Konsu Shogig Otu Mezid. Says the Gemara, okay, very good. That makes a lot of sense, but we have a problem. We're going to have a contradiction. The Sanya. So Stam, to confuse the Olam, we made a beautiful chart. Scare you. Givaldi. Okay, so first of all, we don't have to know anything about Rabbi Yochanan Sandler. It's not important for our sugya. But what's very cool about this chart is you could see that the Mazid of Rabbi Meir, the red words on the top line are identical to the red words on the second line of Rabbi Yehuda. And the purple words on the second line of Rabbi Yehuda are identical to the purple words of Rabbi Yochanan Sandler. That's not 100%. There's a Rashi that argues with it a little bit. But one Rashi says like this, one Rashi says like that. Okay. The bottom line is, I like to say this all the time, I'll throw it in again. The Mishnah Bura in Chel Gimel and the Akdama to the Shabbos, he says that if you don't learn Hilchos Shabbos, you guaranteed the Michal Shabbos every Shabbos. People have to learn the halachas. Okay. That being said, a guy went ahead and he cooked on Shabbos. We could cook on Shabbos also. I was in somebody's house, I saw him cooking on Shabbos by mistake. He didn't know. They can't do this and this with the oven, whatever it was. There's a lot of halachas with the blech, and I don't know them very well, and I stay away from it. Even with a crock pot, you put stones on the bottom, you merachik it, the thing, you put your whole thing into, like you buy it, it might be a big problem. You have to put like silver foil, some people put silver foil, everything. If you don't know halachas, you can be over and bishul every Shabbos. Fine. The guy didn't know the halachas, his friend comes in and said, listen, you just cook the whole thing on with the crock pot, but you can't use it, unfortunately, it's a mevashel b'Shabbos. So what do? So, b'shogig yoichal. Remeir holds, since you didn't, again we have to knock down? Okay. Remeir says, b'shogig, you could eat it right then and there. B'mezid lo yoichal. Here's the question, what does it mean lo yoichal? Rashi and all Rishonim hold lo yoichal means just right now on Shabbos, and after Shabbos you could eat it. And when I say after Shabbos, it means b'chdei sheyasa, as long as it takes to cook up the food. So if it takes, No, you're going to go with b'chdei sheyasa. Now, there's a Rashi, not over here, but there's a Rashi that says in the R school for some reason goes with this Rashi. I'm not exactly sure why, because it doesn't seem like that's how it is, and the Masifta doesn't go with that Rashi. There's a Rashi that says lo yoichal forever. Okay. But it's also not important to us right now. The point is, so if we stop right over here, we have a big problem. What does Rameir say? If a person inadvertently cooks on Shabbos, he doesn't know it's Shabbos today, or he doesn't know that cooking is Aser, or this method of cooking is Aser, yeah? A good example of cooking on Shabbos. I'm not saying this is Aser, but I saw people, now my kids want to do this, because they love these instant soups. You take water out of the kumkum, you throw it into the soup on Shabbos, and people say it's 100% mutter. What's the problem? I said, to me, it just seemed like it's not mutter, and I was looking for reasons why it's not mutter, and it could be it's mutter. Could be. It's bishul kal and this and that, but there's a lot of ingredients in there. Maybe those are, okay, I'm not going into that. But let's say that it's aser. So here, people, they just take the hot water, but no, it's klishlishi. Take the hot water, put it into 2, 3, and then you throw it into the soup. The soup makes, and they eat soup on Shabbos. Let's say it's aser. So I thought it's mutter. My Rav told me it's mutter. And I find that it's aser. So, b'shoyi yoichal. But according to Rameir, what do we say? Kointzim shoygig atu mezid. According to Rameir, it should be aser. Why b'shoygig yoichal? So you made a mistake. Mezid, he says, lo yoichal. You can't eat it. When? Matzah Shabbos, forever, whatever it is. But Mezid, why is he making a distinction between shoygig and Mezid? You just told me that Rameir holds kointzim shoygig atu mezid. In our Mishnah, if a guy's metama somebody else's fruit by mistake, Rameir says he's chayiv. Why? Because Mezid and shoygig are the same. So over here in Shabbos, Mezid and shoygig should be the same. That's question number 1. No, we're not talking about nikkur now. We're talking about the idea. Now we're switching sugyas.
So what's that idea specifically?
Why? Why? I hold kointzim shoygig atu mezid in hezek shein nikkur, in Shabbos, in everything. What's the difference? Now another problem. Rabbi Yehuda says, did the air conditioner just go off? But 20 minutes of that is the Zoom bomber. Fine. Says the Gemara, Kasha the Meir, Kasha the Yehuda. Says the Gemara, the Meir like Kasha, Kikonis b'derabbanan. And if you look at Rashi right on the side of this, it says v'divrei sarfim tzrichim chizuk. So we're just going to say reverse svaros here. Remeir says there's a difference between Rabbanon and their Raisa. When by Mitama's friend's fruit, that's the Rabbanon. People don't care so much about Chachamim. Yeah, it's just the Rabbanon. Just the Rabbanon. I'm going to be mechazik that. I'm going to give you a penalty. But the Raisa like Hanas, people are very scared. It says before in the Torah not to do something, so they're not going to start cooking on Shabbos. It says in the Torah not to. As the Gemara of Menasach the Raisa of Kakanas. But in our Mishnah, it says the case of Yain Esech, and that's the Raisa of Avodah Zarah. Shum Chumra Avodah Zarah Kanas. No, because Avodah Zarah is so bad, I gave him an extra penalty. The Rabbi Yehuda like Kasha, Kiloi Kanas. When is Rabbi Yehuda not doing a Kanas with the Rabbanon? But the Raisa Kanas, the opposite. Mamish the opposite of what Rameir said. Fakert, because a person is over in the Raisa, I'm going to give him a penalty. Oh, but Menasach the Raisa v'lo Kanas, but Menasach is the Raisa, and Rabbi Yehuda is the opposite of Rameir, who holds there's no Kanas when it comes to Nisuch Yain. I don't have to because it's so chomer, it's Avodah Zarah, even the worst of the worst don't do Avodah Zarah. Says the Gemara, V'ramin the Rameir the Raisa. Now I have two Raisas, and I'm going to bring a contradiction. I think I even did a. 1 second. No, these buttons are not working. Gary, remind me, these buttons are not working. Here. So just stop. Hamatame b'shoigig, what does Rameir say? Chayiv. Why? Kontzu shoigig otu mezid. And the Gemara says, but mevashel b'shoigig, Rameir says you could eat. You don't do knas shoigig otu mezid. Okay. And now the Gemara is going to bring this case. Hamavashel b'shoigig, which is what? It's a deraisa. You're not allowed to cook on Shabbos. Rameir says, since it's shoigig, we're not going to give you a penalty, you could eat. Now we're going to see a case of a deraisa. Person who planned something on Shemitah, which is a deraisa, according to Reb Meir, I give him a penalty. You have to uproot the tree. Well, it's not fair. How come on Shabbos I don't give him a penalty, and Shemitah you give him a penalty? If a person plants a tree on Shabbos, you're allowed to keep it. And that fits very well with Reb Meir. But on Shemitah, the problem is from Shemitah. I give him a penalty on Shemitah. So the question is going to be from Shemitah, not from Shabbos. Rabbi Yehuda says on Shemitah, you don't give him a penalty. So it's a kasha and Rabbi Yehuda also. If you did it by mistake on Shemitah, you could keep it. So it's a big kasha. How come on Shemitah, Reb Meir says you give him a penalty, but if you cook on Shabbos, you don't give him a penalty b'shogig? So the Gemara says, wait a minute. That itself is a problem. You said a difference between Shabbos and Shemitah. Shabbos, you said, that according to Reb Meir, you don't give him a penalty. What's going on? Ma'aser Shabbos, Ma'aser Shemitah. Shviz. Because of course you have to come on to the reason over there. Why do I say there's a difference between Shemitah and Shabbos? So what's going to happen is that if I don't make the guy uproot his tree, so people are going to say, what year of fruit is this? It's after Arla. Wait a minute. When did you plant it? Oh, you planted on Shemitah. Oh, you're allowed to plant trees on Shemitah. You're going to mess people's minds up. People are going to think because of you, now you're allowed to plant on Shemitah. They're going to start doing calculations, go backwards, revise. The fourth year, revise like Maaser Sheni. If you have a fourth year tree, you have to take all the fruit and only eat it in Yerushalayim. And if you can't take all your fruit to Yerushalayim, you can redeem it with money and bring the money to Yerushalayim. But people are going to do calculations and see that you planted on Shemitah, so we say uproot it. Well, then, and another reason, Nechshu the Yisrael al Shvius, v'le nechshu al Shabbosos. I don't have to penalize anybody for Shabbos. I have to give a penalty on Shemitah because people are not so good with Shemitah. Hold on. Let's just do this because I don't understand it, so I just want to get over it now. I don't want to start tomorrow with this. My dover acher. That's the Gemara. My dover acher. Why do you need another reason? We just said people. You don't need another. Why my dover acher? Wait a minute. Some people could count backwards and figure out that you planted it on Shabbos. Do you know who the Sokol Shata? Oh, what's going on here? So, in order for something to be Arla or not Arla, it has to be past 3 years. But you don't need 3 full years. Mixas Hayom Kikuloi, Mixas Shoshana Kikuloi. So if I get 30 days of 1 year before Rosh Hashanah, it's really 6 weeks from Tu B'Av, let's just call it 30 days, okay? Not to confuse it. 30 days before Rosh Hashanah, from Rosh Chodesh Elul, if I planted it before Rosh Chodesh Elul, then it's considered a whole year. So what happened was, 3 years later, this is the part I understand so well. 3 years later, a guy is eating from the fruit, comes his neighbor and says, whoa, isn't that Arla? He says, no, it's not Arla. I planted it 30 days before Rosh Hashanah. So the guy goes, oh, that came out on Shabbos. You see, you're allowed to plant a tree on Shabbos. So I'm not sure how 3 years later this guy's going to make a calculation. And what if he planted it 31 days before? No. So it has to be that the guy said, the best shot I've seen, a little bit to understand what's going on, the guy said, no, I did it exactly 30 days before. And because in those years, they were all geniuses, they all knew the calendars inside out, backside, forwards. So when you're eating today, the guy's going to make a quick calculation that 30 days before Rosh Hashanah fell out on a Shabbos. Huh?
People had the last date that people comes out was a tree which the last date.
You mean everybody knew it? They're all planters. You're right. They're all farmers, and they knew that this. But maybe he planted it 36 days before, and then it's for sure 30 days.
5 days before, so they know that 5 days was the last.
But it's only if he said specifically, I did it 30 days. Yeah. Okay. So, Eli. Fine. Oh, so for that, Toshma, Dover Acher, Nechshu Yisrael Shvius, but Nechshu Shabbat. I almost stopped there. That would have been terrible. I would have to do this whole thing again. So for that, the Gemara says, no, nobody's Choshed, they're not Choshed, Nechshu Yisrael Shvius, Nechshu Shabbat. Nobody's going to plant on Shabbos. They might plant on Shemitah, but not on Shabbos. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful week, a wonderful day. Yishkoyach, a good Voch.